Well, lots of different developments around all of this, and particularly whether or not the ANC and the EFF are coming closer together. Earlier today on Newzroom Afrika, Channel 405, the Gauteng ANC leader, the Gauteng Premier, Khanya Vilakazi, said that they are working and negotiating with the EFF about forming coalition governments in Gauteng. Khanya Vilakazi is a political analyst at the University of Mpumalanga. Khanya, good afternoon to you. Can these parties, the ANC and the EFF, really work together in local government when they seem to be so far apart in national government?
I think it's counterintuitive for them to actually work together when one is a sworn enemy of the other. However, local issues ought to dictate if a marriage of convenience could happen between the two parties at any municipality.
Khanya Vilakazi says we shouldn't mix national politics and local politics, but I don't know if it's really possible to do that. I mean, can you really divorce Julius Malema and Cyril Ramaphosa from a relationship which saw Ramaphosa removing Malema from the ANC back in 2012?
No, I think we can't. However, I think this is the downfall that has caused a lot of coalition governments or municipalities to be this bad, because there's conceited efforts of a national interference at local issues, where it renders people at a local level or members of each party at a local level at a disadvantage because they know who they'd want to work with because of local issues. However, because decisions are taken at a national level, then these local leaders are unable to form these solid coalitions properly.
So what's going to happen? Are we just going to have a bit more instability? I mean, are we likely to see more minority mayors from minority parties, as we see with Tapela Ahmad in Joburg from the party El Jama, which got a very small percentage of the vote in the last local elections?
Definitely. I think moving forward, I think the EFF has taken upon itself to say that they will no longer be working with certain political parties, which then destabilizes certain coalitions that have been formed. But in doing so, this then hurts the EFF in the sense that some of its members, for example, in KZN, where they have deputy mayors, where they were told to resign, they're no longer going to have that public persona which the EFF dearly needs to garner more votes. And then above that, you'll realize that what impacts the most in the municipality will be service delivery if there's constant instability.
One of the problems we've seen, and you raise an interesting point with the EFF, but we've seen in the ANC from around 2013 and Clockway onwards that the ANC was unable to ensure that its councillors behaved in a disciplined manner. That was the first time, to my memory, that we saw ANC councillors voting against ANC instructions. They voted against the mayoral candidate that the ANC wanted. They voted for someone else. Now, could we start to see that in other parties? I mean, it's one thing to say to ANC members in Ekurhuleni, you must vote for the ANC mayoral candidate. Maybe harder to say you must vote for the EFF mayoral candidate, or you must vote for the El Jama mayoral candidate. I mean, could we start to see discipline in some parties getting a bit more complicated?
I think we will, and I think the biggest issue is that all of these councillors told the line from the party instead of going back to the constituents that got them elected. And this is the biggest flaw in our political system, that the rules of the game are being dictated to elected individuals by the party and not the ward constituents at a local level. And this is when you see certain people going against a candidate because this candidate was imposed by them by either the region or the province or at a national level to say this is the person that you guys ought to elect as mayor. However, that then goes against what local people want in that particular ward. So it is going to, in that particular municipality. So that is going to cause a lot of issues moving forward, where councillors need to vote for a particular person even though they don't want them in that municipality.
Voters will be watching this, and I presume that some voters, maybe many voters, will base their decisions in 2024, just next year, provincial and national elections, on what happens in local government. We see chopping and changing, we see instability, we see deals being struck in so many different directions sometimes. How do you think voters are going to feel about all of this, particularly if we start to see infrastructure crumbling in so many municipalities?
Well, they will blame someone. And they'll definitely blame those that they entrusted with their vote. Because above and beyond, when a voter votes in South Africa, they have hope that things are going to get better. Even if things are not going good, they have hope that things are going to get better. However, if coalition governments continuously break down, then they'll look for somebody to blame. And if the EFF is a political party that they'll point their finger to, then unfortunately the voters will start showing it through the electoral process. We have seen what has happened in last year's elections in 2021, when people didn't vote. And they didn't vote because they felt disheartened by the system itself. Mostly the ANC, but they needed to vent out and they stayed at home.
Khanya Vilakazi, thank you, political analyst based at the University of Mpumalanga.